Hi, this is Mrs. Morant with a quick tutorial about angles in the coordinate plane measured in radians. So as you saw in the previous video, a radian is a unit of measure for angles. 1 radian is the angle made at the center of a circle by an arc whose length is equal to the radius of the circle. So what that means is if we have the radius of this circle here, and then I draw an arc that's the same length as that radius. So if this is a length of r, this is also a length of r. Then connecting that, this central angle here has a measurement of 1 radian. So remembering that positive angles start on the positive side of the x-axis and then rotate counterclockwise. So that particular angle that I just drew has a measurement of positive 1 radian. Well, to get all the way to the other side of the circle, it is a distance of just over 3. There's 2, 3. Just over 3 radii, the plural form of radius, to get there. And that number itself is exactly pi. So this would be 0 over here. Half the circle is pi. And so to continue down around back to the beginning of the circle, that's traveling a distance of 2 pi altogether. And so for each of the top and bottom of the y-axis, it's halfway to pi here. So I say 1/2 pi, which you will often see written as pi over 2. They mean the same thing. And then down at the bottom of the y-axis, that would be like pi plus another 1/2 a pi. So 3/2 pi, which you will again see written as 3 pi over 2. Okay, so here I have some other circles that have just been, proportioned up differently. And so I'm going to figure out the measurement in radians for each of those places along the circle. So again, I always want to start with, well, this is 0 pi, halfway around the circle is pi, and the rest of the way around the circle is 2 pi. So then I look at, well, how many places are there between, or spaces are there between 0 and pi? And I notice there are 4, which means each stop along the way is 1/4 of pi. So this angle here is at 1/4 of pi. So that would be like the measurement of the central angle there. All the way up at the top would be 2/4 of pi. But we know 2/4 is 1/2, so I'm going to rewrite that as 1/2 pi. So 2/4, this is 3/4 of pi. And then 4/4 or pi, same thing. 4/4 of pi and pi would both be equal to 1 pi. And so then we're down here at 5/4 of pi. And then 6/4 of pi. 7/4 of pi. And then 8/4 of pi, which I've already written as 2 pi. The 6/4 of pi, that can be reduced. 6 and 4 are both divisible by 2, so divide out the 2, and we get 3/2 of pi. So for this, let's just take 7/4 of pi, for example. So the fact that I've labeled that 7/4 of pi means if we start here at 0 and travel all the way through to here, then that angle, that space we went through, is equal to 7/4 of pi. Okay, moving on to the last circle here. Again, we want to label each of the angles around the circle. And so we start at 0, halfway is pi, and then the rest of the way back is 2 pi. And in between 0 and pi, there are 6 spaces. So each little angle is going to represent 1/6 of pi. So this would be 1/6 of pi, 2/6 of pi. Well, 2/6, I can write that as 1/3. So I'm going to do that, 1/3. And then 3/6 of pi, 3/6 is equal to 1/2. So 1/2 pi. And then this would be 4/6 of pi, 4/6 of pi. And again, 4/6, that can be simplified because 4 and 6 are both divisible by 2. So factor out the 2 and you get 2/3 of pi. So we were at 4/6. This is 5/6 of pi. And then 6/6 or pi. And then 7/6 of pi, which can't be reduced. It's in simplest form. The next one would be 8/6 of pi. And I'm just going to label these and then come back and simplify. 9/6 of pi, 10/6 of pi, 11/6 of pi. Okay, and then going backwards, 8/6, that's equal to 4/3. And 9/6, 9/6 is equal to 3/2. And 10/6, 10/6 is equal to 5/3. 11/6 is all the way simplified, and then we're at 12/6 of pi or 2 pi. All right, so again, what these measurements mean on the outside is if we were to start, let's say here at 0 and stop there, then that would be a measurement of 2/3 of pi. We could also go backwards, which we'll talk about in a different video. But until then, I want you to think about, what if I started here and went this way? That's a negative angle. A negative what? That is going to be coming your way.